Hey guys, it's Debbie. Today we're doing something rather special. This is from a new collection from Scrappy Tails, and the main die that is the focal point of the whole thing is the wedding couple, I think. Yes. I probably got the name wrong, but just check the description down below. You'll have all linked. It'll have all the things that I'm using today listed down below, and in the visual supply list that's also going to be linked down below too. So first off, I'm just putting together our wedding couple, and you guys know me, a lot of times I'll start with a focal point. I will put that together, and then from there I basically build on it. But I did have a little bit of an idea as I was getting started with this. I thought about my own wedding, and we got married at sunset at the beach. So I kind of have that idea going on. I didn't quite make a beach, but we are going to have a sunset to have our little couple here in front of. And the dies are so super easy to put together. Sabrina did a wonderful job, as always, giving us all the pieces to be able to just layer everything up to create whatever it is that we're wanting to create using her wonderful dies. So for the main part, I am doing an ink blended background. I'm using three of Simon Hurley's Stellar inks to get a wonderful blend. And I'm doing the same way that I normally do. I put down the color first, get the blend starting, and then I go back over it with a second layer. It's that second layer that really gives that vibrancy and really makes it so that everything blends together really, really, really well. Now, eventually I will try out his Stark White cardstock and see if it does better than the Nina Solar White that I typically use. But this has always worked well for me, and if you have trouble with your ink blending being a little bit splotchy, give that a try and see what you think. So I'm adding a little bit of blue after I've got my red and my yellow and my orange in, just to give it that kind of little bit of a sunsetty look, so it's a little bit darker at the top. Probably early sunset. It's not quite time. And then, of course, I have to add a little bit of splatter because I'm loving Simon's new solar spray. So I'm using that, and then just using my heated gun to dry everything. Okay, I think I've got pretty much all of my pieces cut. I do want to tell y'all a little bit about this one though. This die, let me show y'all. This die is massive. This is a full 5x7. So if I pull this down to the bottom of my bottom mark here, it will go up to the 7-inch mark. All the way up to 7 inches, which means this will not fit in your Platinum 6. I was able to cut the top part to about here in my Platinum 6, and the rest of this, I copied this. I basically traced around it, trimmed it up a little bit because there is that 1/8 of an inch between the die, the cutting blade and the edge of the die. So that's how I manage this one. So if you've got a Platinum 6, just know this will not fit in there. Okay, but I did cut out the rest of the pieces. Everything else was able to do fine. Also watched one of Sabrina's videos, and it's like, you know what? I like that idea. I'm going to use this pieces for our pop-up, and I'm going to have our little wedding couple be in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and just start putting everything together. I did use my scoreboard to mimic the score lines that she has on here. So I've got the guides for being able to fold everything over. And something I discovered the last time I used one of her dies for her trifold was that you really do want to do the 3 layers there. Okay, there are 3 score lines. You really do want to do that because it gives you a little bit extra space here to be able to have more things in there. So I'm going to do that. So I'm basically I think I'm probably going to just use the front and the back. So it's going to be folded like that. I think that'll work. So I'm just going to use the front one, the one closest and the one furthest out. I did fold all these anyway. It is what it is. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere. Oops, that one's crooked. I'm going to go ahead and adhere my bits together. First, we've got the background that we did that fun ink blending on. And I love those colors. My first thought when I saw this collection, okay, it's because it is a wedding, I'm thinking about my wedding, and my wedding was at the beach. So that's, yeah, kind of the idea. So this is not exactly a beach one, but this is a sunset. I'm going to call it a sunset. It might be a sunrise. I don't know. We're going to go ahead and just adhere that down. Also, I'm using, I probably should have used heavyweight, but this is all lightweight cardstock, but I am thinking that if I have them layered, it will add additional stability and thickness to it. So there we go. Oops, what I forgot to do. On this one, it does give you so that you're able to do 3 pop-ups. I'm doing the same thing she did in her video, and I am just folding on this part, and I forgot I need to pop this in here. So I'm going to adhere this down inside there. Let me go ahead and add some glue, and then liquid glue lets you move things around a little bit if you catch it in time. And this is the first time that I've used this style of pop-up. So forgive me if it doesn't work. I think it's going to work because I did kind of mess around with it a little bit to see what was needed. Okay, so that should be fine. I think I've got it kind of sort of centered. Let's move it over a little bit before the glue really sets. Okay, I think that's going to be good. And it does pop up, it does fold up. I think it might be a little bit crooked, but that is still okay, I think. There are a couple of different sizes for the bridge that are included in the die set. One is larger, like this one. The other one is smaller, and I thought I cut it out. Let me find that, and then we can start. Oh, here we go. So here's the little bridge. And I believe the way that it's going to work is we're going to pop it in here and adhere it down on that flap. So that's what I'm going to do. And you can use whatever adhesive you want to with this. I'm using liquid glue, but you could use some double-sided tape for this. Okay, and one other thing that I'm noticing is this piece. I kind of want to have that covered. You know what? I'm going to trace the die and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to trace the other die, the one that cut our platform. I'm going to trace this one, and then I'll have a piece that's going to actually perfectly fit. And those rounded edges on the corners, I'm trying to make sure that I've got them as pointed because that's how the die is. And then we're going to see if I need to trim anything else down. So I'll just take out my paper trimmer so I can make sure I've got a nice straight edge. Okay, so hopefully this is about right. I am going to go ahead. There is a little bit of a pencil mark there that's going to bug me, so I am going to go ahead and try to remove those real quick. Let's see how that works. I'm going to say that that is close enough. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this one down so we've got a cover for our little pop-up. Okay. All right, so that is the start of it. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put the wings down. So now I'm going to put our gatefold fronts. I cut this out of some silver cardstock and some heavyweight vellum. This is the first time I've used this heavyweight vellum. So it cut nicely. I did like that. I have no idea how sturdy it is. So we're going to put it here because it needs to match the front. And yes, you're going to be able to see part of it. This one I am going to use some double-sided tape though for, because otherwise, because it's vellum, vellum is a plastic. Because it's vellum, it will probably not stick if I don't do that. And yes, we are going to have some of this flap is going to show, and that's fine. You're probably not going to even notice it behind all of that silver we're going to be putting on top. And I'm using my T-square to try to make sure that it is lined up straight with the bottom of the card. Okay, I'll do it this way. This will probably work better. There's a little ridge on the bottom of the pear blossom press. Yeah, I think y'all can see it. There's a little ridge right here at the bottom of the pear blossom press T-square. So that's going to help me have a bottom piece for me to line this up, because I always get this stuff crooked. So I'm just going to line it up with the bottom with my T-square, with the bottom of my piece of vellum. Because I really don't want to have to do this 2, 3, 4 times, and I have had to do that before. And making sure I come over far enough There we go. So now we've got our first one that's going to go over the front. That's so pretty. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the second, and then I'm just going to add some liquid glue to the back of all of this and adhere that down. Okay, I think that is close enough. That is going to be so pretty. Okay. Let's go ahead and adhere these on. And I'm putting everything face down on my paper, on my desk, so I can get to this. Actually, I do have a different adhesive that may work better for this purpose that I haven't used in a bit. And that's Artist-Tac. So I think I'm going to use some of this stuff. So what this has, it's got little pieces. It's basically a dry adhesive. It's got little tiny dots of that dry adhesive on sheets. And that means we'd be able to cover the entire thing with adhesive before popping it down. So let me see which part is the front and which part's the back. Okay, so this part here has got the little dots. If I hold it in the light, you might be able to see the dots a little bit. I can see it. And this is basically a release paper on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and put both of my pieces on here, and just like that. Put the release paper down and burnish it well so it picks up all of that adhesive. Okay, so now we've got a couple of silver stickers. Big silver stickers. Okay, let's go ahead and put this down on one. Being careful to actually get it into the center on first try. Yes, please. Oh, that is so pretty. Okay, we got to do the other one now. And that sheet still has a lot of adhesive on it, so basically all of the spots in between, we'll be able to use it again because we've got all that space that was cut out of this die. Okay, there we go. So now we have our gatefold done. That is so pretty. Okay, next I need to add our little guys here. So we've got our bride and groom. I'm going to add them right onto the front there. And then I'll have to add a little pop-up bracket. I don't know if that's what it's actually called. That's a whole technical term, right? I don't know if that's what it's called or not, but that's what we're going to do. And that's going to make it so that it actually pops up off of the back instead of just falling down flat. Kind of want them a little bit further over. Let's try this. I'm going to try putting them, I want them in the center. Right about there. Oh, that is going to be so pretty. Okay, so one of the dies that I had already cut out was basically just this long piece that had a couple of score marks. I'm changing this one a little bit. There's probably another die that's actually the correct size for this, but what I'm trying to do, and I'm just guesstimating here, I want to make sure that I have this much space, the space between our wedding couple and the background. There needs to be a little bracket there for support. So I'm basically just, is that the way I did it? Yeah. Okay, so I put this end up against the back of there, the pop-up part, because that's where it's going to fold. Put it there, and I measured it back, and I think it worked. Anyway, I measured it, and now I can't remember exactly how I measured it. So we're going to see if this is going to work, though. So if I pop it up there, and I want to make sure that I have, yes, I'm going to actually be a little bit more scientific than this. Let's get out our T-square again and measure. So the distance between the background and our pop-up, the base of our pop-up is about 3/4 of an inch. So we would need a 3/4 of an inch space there. Let's see if I actually measured that one right. And I actually, yes. So with my guesstimation, I did. So we've got 3/4 of an inch, and that's why this one's going to work. So you need enough space between your characters and the background so that they'll be popped up right there. Now, I like the fact that I've got this longer piece too, because that means I'm going to have it where I can position this up a little bit higher. And I think that's going to work better for me. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and just glue this part down onto my card. Yeah, that's the right size. I'm going to go ahead and glue this part down onto the background of my card right behind where my bridal couple's going to be. And yes, I glued the bottom too. It's basically a little box. I'm going to put that right in the center there and right there. There we go. And then, is that right? Okay, this is how it's going to go. We're going to see. I'm experimenting. Now I'm going to add some glue to that folded down tab. Lay our piece down, because this is what it's going to look like when the card is closed. And then when we pop it up, it pops up perfect. Yay! Okay, this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. So, and you got that little, you can see the shadow behind our guys. Okay, I love this. Yeah. Now, I'd rather that the gates be a little bit more, actually, I'm gonna fold it on that middle one. I would rather that the gates be a little more sturdy, but this is still very, very pretty, and this will fit into into a 5x7 envelope. So we're gonna be perfect there. Now we need a sentiment. Okay, I'm using some contact paper because I have it in my stash, and this is actually, I think, a good use for it. And what I'm going to try to do is just adhere the letters down onto the bubble. So I did the bubble cut. We've got both dies, and so it's going to work great. Anyhow, I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back of these, or I could use some more of that Artist-Tac. I think I'm going to do that. So I've got my Artist-Tac. Only thing is, it's going to adhere to that too. And I don't really want to do that. Let's just add a little bit of glue to this then. I think that's what I'm going to do. This is just a makeup sponge. So I'm just adding a little bit of that on there. And then I'm going to just dab it onto my letters. I will have to weed out the inside of the O's and such. Where's my weeding tool? And you could use your pokey tool for this too. So I'm just taking the little circles out of the inside of the O's and in between the U and the R, because we don't need those bits. Okay. And now I can just add these down. Hopefully I've still got enough glue. Let me add a little bit more. Just be on the safe side. Okay, and now I can go ahead and put this down. Right on our bubble cut. Oh, this is so much easier than trying to put it all on there by hand. I'm going to definitely have to do this more. Moving it over onto the white so I can actually see where the end of my blue is. There we go. So now we have "With Love on Your Wedding Day." We're going to put that on the inside of our card. And this I can use multiple times again. I'm just putting it right back onto the release paper. Isn't this just so fun? Okay, so while it's open and while it's up, I want "Wedding Day" right there. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of glue there. No, I'm not going to use any foam on this one. And then some glue on the back of this one too. And then just double checking to make sure that they are pretty much straight. And I actually eyeballed it pretty well. Okay, that looks fabulous. I am going to add a little bit more though. I've still got some of these hearts that I got from Target a while back. I told y'all a couple years ago at least. Just some table scatter. So you look at all different places. You may find some fun things to add to your cards. And I'm going to just put some hearts on here. I think that's going to be so pretty. Unlike my own wedding where it was love bugs, we're going to have hearts floating in the air. And maybe a few more on the other side going down, I think. And then a couple more up here in the top. Oh, I think this turned out perfect. So lovely. And in case you're wondering, you can add your personal message on the back. That's kind of what it's there for. Okay, so yeah, I have to know, what do you guys think? Is that just the prettiest wedding card? Oh my goodness. I'm loving this. Anyway, yeah, you guys be sure to check out the playlist to see more Scrappy Tail projects. I have done quite a few of those. So go ahead, be sure to check those out on my channel. And yeah, come back to see me in my next live stream and next video. And you guys have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Oh, lovely.